All right. Looks like we're all set here. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is November 8th, 2022. And as the title suggests, the market is kind of keen to see some of the results from the election. We're obviously looking for some response and obviously the directional volatility that can come with any sort of binary event as we have today. Um, for those who joined yesterday, you'll know that the marketplace option series this week is pricing a little bit of additional volatility both throughout Tuesday and Wednesday's series. Usually that is a little bit more rare in a binary event kind of condition. A little bit of that is very likely to be if there's any go back or reconsideration with election results. So that I'd expect some of that volatility to just be positioning for the unknown. But as always, the overall posture of the market is kind of wanting for strength. We're having trouble both locating it. Oh, yeah, just making sure the YouTube stream was good there. We're having trouble locating it at times. And there are some sectors that are kind of showcasing some relative strength. But overall, the posture in a lot of our key underlyings is weak. We have some issues with some of the mega market cap names, and a lot of risk still kind of showcases itself in the market. So from yesterday, and I think something that was brought up on Artie's Twitter, so one of our moderators here tends to look at a higher macro level for a little bit of additional insight, particularly setting up new trade. And one thing that was observed, something that I saw as well, was the relative readings in skew. And for those unfamiliar, this is an index provided by the CBOE. It showcases whether or not the market is positioned for tail risk, which most of the time indicates that the out of the money puts in things like the S&P are priced higher, typically because they are bought solely for the unknown, the black swan type events, any sort of corrective move in the market. Those puts are usually ongoing, and most firms will buy those just to protect a net long position throughout their institution. Whenever the skew starts to read lower, the market sentiment is showcasing a little bit of a shift. And usually what we see is the lower the skew reading, the more positioned the market tends to be closer to at the money put premium. And usually this is indicating that not only is the market a bit more bearish, in the case of buying at the money puts, you're certainly looking for downside to be part of your position. You're essentially betting down versus up, therefore net short versus net long. But the overall posture of the market itself tends to lean towards that objective eventually. It's kind of a little bit of a as the market positions one way, the market actually moves in that direction. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, but it's kind of one leads the other. It tends to be not necessarily a leading indicator, but it showcases where the market's thinking the risk is and where the market thinks is more likely. So as you can see, this is an interesting index because it doesn't necessarily show candles. For those unfamiliar, this is an end of day print, and this is an aggregate print. So it's showcasing whether the aggregate market is more or less positioned bearish using some of the option data that is provided. If If I go ahead and change this to a line chart, what you can see is we've been in essentially a downtrend on skew for this entire year. And as you know, the market has been more or less bearish the entire year, especially in regards to the S&Ps. We've seen certainly more downside opportunity, and the bounces have been either short-lived or do have targets. They have to be exited versus a net short position pretty much still in play at this point in time. What's interesting about this particular reading that we're seeing here is I'm going to go ahead and back up this chart. And what you'll notice is this is the lowest reading for skew ever. The marketplace has never seen a skew probably sub 112, I would argue. I think that's the lowest reading that's printing on my chart currently. And while this data might not go back historically to some of the more notable bear markets that we've seen in our lifetimes, it is showcasing, a very strong sentiment objective to the downside. So one thing that kind of keeps me aware of the potential of the market to fall lower is something like this. There's definitely a lean to the downside. There's a net positioning bearish. And like most things, in order to negate that kind of positioning, we would need to see some directional bias that really puts pressure on those positions. One thing that you can maybe look at is what did the S&P do during times of bullish sentiment? So let's say we're just looking at the period from the breakout of about 390 into that eventual rejection at about 430, this entire kind of bullish buy swing. So we'll kind of anchor it maybe the mid-September. You're going all the way to mid-October. No, sorry. July and August, wrong dates. So July and August of this year. And what you'll notice is the skew showcased a little bit of that posture as well. It actually allowed the market to maybe flip during that period and actually put some of those net bearish positions underwater, along with actually pressuring out of a technical range on skew. I would argue once we bottomed out in May, at least on the skew readings, there was essentially a trading range. We had some highs and lows, but 95% of the price stayed within this region or the prints. The one exception would be that massive rally we got, and that was more or less built upon the idea that the Fed could pivot. Once that became not true, essentially rejected, not only did we see rejection in price, but we actually saw the skew realign to what has more or less been the same core downtrend levels as the price of the S&P. It's the same kind of picture, albeit it means a little bit different. So as we're looking for edge in this marketplace, and as we kind of shift back into the posture today, keep in mind that most of our rallies in this market have been opportunities to get bearish. We've had moments in time to either reposition, reallocate, possibly look to scale in, just understanding that the higher the market goes, the more risk a bull might encounter if the eventual change in price does ever transpire. And as I've been mentioning yesterday, one level that I'm particularly interested in is around 382. We're not quite exactly there yet, but you can see as I pull up some of our just short-term moving averages on the hourly, we're in a good spot. I would say this is about as ideal as it gets. And for this move, I'd be certainly looking for another sell swing. The issue, of course, being is when. And I think just kind of based on this week, we need to be thinking about that binary risk. The CPI is on Thursday. That's certainly the most binary catalyst we have currently. And while the election is throwing up a little bit of price volatility, most market participants would sort of agree that once it transpires, the posture will sort of realign towards what's been the driver of movement in this market, which is some of the Fed decisions, inflationary readings, things like jobs report and the actual sentiment that it provides, and just whether or not economic conditions are changing relative to some of our earnings, which a lot of stocks have been underperforming on their earnings, not only in price, but also in the guidance. So, for positioning, I think if you're looking to get short, if you are a bear and you're just looking for that edge in the market, one, some price levels are certainly going to assist in knowing whether you're right or wrong. Anything above 390 would be a little questionable as whether or not we're going to see further downside in the near future. We have stocks that are pushing lower at the moment. I just saw in the chat, we have Tesla still kind of trying to find its footing here. And remember, this is a stock that over the past couple of months has been declining significantly. Just high to low kind of readings here. We're talking about 30 to 40% drops from that kind of quintessential 300 print. And obviously bounces along the way, but remember, the bounces tend to be a little short-lived. They're powerful in their price, but they also allow you to get back into position. If you're unwinding shorts and kind of taking some of that opportunistic profit, you can kind of get back in when things realign in your favor. And one thing that really kind of kept me aware whether or not Tesla was going to rally any further was what was it going to do around the bounce level. A stock like this certainly has potential for further downside. And as we kind of zoom out here, you can see what that picture looks like. Anything close to the 200 on the weekly would be an ideal stopping point for the sell swing. But for now, the floor is kind of open. We don't really have a lot of support until we get to some of these levels, and then, more dynamic and synthetic supports. Same idea with Apple as well. I know this is one that hasn't really cracked down quite as much, but remember some of the candles that we're dealing with on a weekly basis, especially last week's. Massive givebacks. This is post earnings too, so the earnings reaction on the day might have felt very strong, and yet the marketplace was able to give it all back, give back the actual move into earnings. And at this point in time, I have sort of a speculative head and shoulder structure that could lead to further downside. At this point, really just looking for a lot of these stocks to align with similar names. And you'll note things like the 200 period on the weekly as one of those key areas to target, albeit we do need to see the actual breakdown. This is, amidst a bounce. We have to really see that crack at the lows. So this is what kind of keeps me aware that this marketplace is not necessarily healthy. There's still potential for further downside, and what stocks are going to bring us there amidst other stocks which are possibly leading, potentially rallying throughout some of this period. I've mentioned healthcare quite a bit. You'll note the posture here is neutral to bullish. I've mentioned some of the financial sector actually recovering quite well. Secondary test off of the 200, but overall the recovery has been quite significant. And usually what I'm looking to see is how much of this can you retrace. If you're going to have a sell swing and you decide to bounce, how much of that bounce is covering up the pain, the downside pain. Financials kind of gives me that key that, maybe that sell swing was temporary, a little bit less impactful for the future. So those sectors leading amidst sectors that are lagging, and I kind of bring up Microsoft as the corollary to Apple having already met its 200 period weekly moving average. Sectors that are lagging overall, these are just net weak sectors that haven't quite found their footing yet. Obviously, a lot of that being felt in stocks like Meta and even Netflix to some degree. I was kind of looking at the drawdown recently, giving back some of that earnings reaction that we saw a couple of weeks ago. Not to say that these are ready, I'm certainly looking for bounces. I want to be certainly clear. It's a little bit odd posture to be bearish whenever other market participants are looking for relief. The chart itself tells me one thing, my emotions might tell me another, and those are things that I'm constantly having to push aside when looking for opportunity. I certainly still see downside risk here. And if the 2008 model is one to be reviewed, that is kind of the idea of what this market could eventually lead to. So the question is, how to take advantage of this. For one, I think if you're going to be bearish in pretty much any market condition, it's hard to just go out and be net short. You're essentially taking on full price risk in that marketplace. And like a lot of things, it's hard to borrow short shares depending on the asset. You're obviously carrying overnight margin. There's a lot of negatives to being a short biased, having a short bias in your portfolio through shares. Because of the option market, I think there's so many more opportunities to carry net short positions, and it's a lot easier. It tends to be more dynamic. You can kind of structure it in a way that makes more sense as opposed to just being pure bearish or pure bullish. And for the most part, you can tolerate risk a lot more. Essentially, there are option strategies where if you want to be bearish, you can say how much you're willing to lose, and that literally can be baked in to the premium that you purchase. So no matter how long you want to hold it or how far you think it's going to go, if you're more concerned with the risk, that can be built accordingly. Let's assume, for example, today is an opportunity to put on maybe a little bit of a short play in the S&P. Not looking for the short term, but more or less looking to position short into the rest of the year, maybe even carry this over into January. Remember, if I'm looking at something like 2008, I'll kind of bring up that chart here. I'm looking at us being somewhere in this region currently, which means if it does transpire over time, 3, 4, 5, it took another 5 weeks, at least historically, to actually break the relative low. So for now, we're looking at CPI lows. If this does come to fruition, we'd be looking probably in late November to early December as seeing, that next sell swing and actually breaking down from 350. So these areas right here, I'd want to posture for this kind of behavior, but also representing the fact that it takes time. This is not an easy thing to time overall, but I also don't want to be trying to grab downside premium whenever the market is breaking down. I want to already have the position. So one thing I could do is start to look out in something like the quarterlies. I could certainly look out in January if I want to give it a little bit more time. Remember, we need about a month if 2008 is any model to reflect time. And the idea is that currently we're at about 380. So I'm assuming for now that the flag is starting to break down. We're back testing to some degree. And if we see further downside, really 390 should never be fully broken. But if it is, that premium should be protected. One of the easiest ways to do this is just to be net short. And as a bear, you can go out and pretty much at any point in time buy something like an at the money or in the money put. I definitely recommend something with a slightly higher delta than negative 0.5. Reason being is if the market does decide to move a little slower, the intrinsic value here will kind of protect the fact that we're not necessarily moving quickly. And obviously this is more just a short position. So, the positive here is that if the market goes down even to 350, something like this would appreciate quite nicely. Costs about $2,000 to hold this position, at least at current price levels. You could also just kind of scoot a little bit closer, maybe to 382. And remember, once again, this is not necessarily going to be a full loss at 390. But if the market does decide to rally, you will see some of that premium leave pretty quickly. Anywhere from 382 to 372 would represent a $10 rally. And you can see that even current prices, this is about a $400 difference. So you're defining your risk relative to the premium, but you're also taking on a little bit more directional pain if the market chooses to rally higher. Another option would be, of course, a vertical. So in this case, you're still probably looking to buy in the money, but you know that the downside potential is high. So you want to give yourself a pretty wide vertical opportunity. Here is about a $22 wide vertical. Nothing special about this choice of strikes, just kind of showing the construction. Brings the premium down to about $800. Once again, the market doesn't necessarily have to collapse during this period, but any move lower, 375, 370, you might even be able to close this a little early, especially if you start to feel that the sentiment is changing and the price is reflecting that change. Most of these strategies are purely based on price. They have a lot of delta exposure. So, to kind of assume how much delta you're carrying here, we could bring up the 382s at about a negative 0.47, and then a 360, I negated about 0.28. So I'm still carrying about negative 0.2 delta relative to the SPY. And that means that for every $5 or so that the S&P goes down, this vertical based on delta should appreciate about $1. So, $800 to hold. Every $5 would kind of bring it closer to some of those premium levels. The closer this is to expiration, the better it'll be. But remember, this is out in time. So some of the directional bias is more for the future. The speed of the downside would be experienced a little bit later in time. And you could certainly manage this as you get closer to that expiration. One of the more clever ways to go about this, and it's something that I tend to like if I have a very far-reaching thesis, is considering a back ratio. The construction here depends on your risk tolerance, but there are a lot of ways to set this up to where you're essentially selling prices that you believe are not really going to be intrinsic for very long. For now, let's assume we are back testing. I would be looking to sell close to at the money premium. So like a 380 would be a good example. And what I want to do with this now short put is I want to buy out of the money premium. So in this case, I can buy, let's say, two 360s. That pretty much brings my price down to about $100 for the opening of the spread. Um, One thing you'll notice here is I kind of open up the Analyze tab and bring up our risk profile. This is a spread that's going to require some momentum, i.e., it doesn't take a lot to open it. I brought the cost basis down very, very low, and I've also covered any sort of undefined risk. Remember how back ratio is constructed. I sell one, I buy one, so that covers up my short vertical, but I also buy another, in this case, out of the money put for future momentum, future downside. It basically allows me to be bearish, but I'm selling some premium to pay for it. I'm using the marketplace to provide the premium. And what you'll notice here is as I kind of shift out these strikes a bit, there is a big pit of risk around 360. So in essence, I cannot have this spread close to expiration. Let's say I'm out in maybe January, let's say about a week before expiration. The spread starts to really collapse inside that 360. And that's when I start to experience more of the premium degrade. The vertical is not paying for how much it cost for those 360 puts, one of them in this case. But if the market can move through 350 and do it quick enough, in this case, it can do it early or it can do it after the fact. The back ratio starts to become very similar to just a regular put. The idea being it is exposing you to this 360 put as your short thesis. And that really is going to be the winner if the market were to fall apart. Now, obviously, all these strategies can be applied short term, medium term, and long term. I'm really just choosing something out in time because I've talked through the idea of a market crash, but I really haven't showed y'all ways to take advantage of it. This would be kind of the, I would say, intermediate view of how to take advantage of it. There's quite a few more ways you can do it. I'll be looking at VIX calls as well. If we do see a collapse, I would expect the VIX to spike. Once again, very similar to 2008. That could also provide the hedge to your portfolio, just having a little bit of volatility exposure. And then last but not least, a lot of these spreads do not require the market to collapse. In fact, if the market goes down and then recovers, you can decide to take this off if the thesis no longer fits in regards to how the market is responding. So these are all ways to get you that exposure. They give you enough time for the unthinkable to happen, but they also allow for things to be a little bit slower and still walk away profitable, along with that potential for the future breakdown. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Trade safe today. We'll talk through a little bit more of this tomorrow, and we'll kind of see how the market responds today in regards to new catalysts. So trade safe. We'll talk more then.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys are having had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. Welcome back, my friend. How are you
Good
doing
morning,
today?
brother. How you doing? I'm all right. I'm tired.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
long week and long last few days, but I'm here. Had quite a bit of excitement over the weekend, so yeah.
Nice, nice. Good, man. Good. Glad that everything went well.
We sailed like roughly 85 miles in total over the course of 3 days, and the last day we were heading back. We had about 25 miles left to get back to our home marina, our home port in the middle of the Houston Ship Channel. For those that don't know, it's about 500 feet wide and it's dredged out in Galveston Bay. It's shallow on the side, so you can't go out there. We're along the edge with 300,000 ton oil tankers steaming by us and cargo ships and everything else. And our engine went out and we had almost no wind. So, and the wind was forecast to die. So, if that would have happened, we would have probably drifted into the middle of the channel in front of cargo ships that could not stop.
Easily stop. Oh,
Yeah,
that
could
is
not
not
stop at
fun.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
So we would have just been run over by a cargo ship. So it was a bit of a. Thankfully, the wind stayed enough for us to control until a towboat got there. And yeah, that, and at the same time that was happening, a ship exploded about a mile or so away, an oyster boat with 3 people on it, and saw a
Oh,
full-on Coast Guard rescue. It was nuts.
wow. Man, talk about
It was an adventure. So
adventure for sure. Well, glad you're back
anyway,
safe, Norman.
glad to
That
be back.
everything turned out good there. Um, all right, guys. Let's see what's going on today. We have tons of stuff happening. Obviously, the big stuff today is going to be midterm elections. Before we get to that, let's take a quick look on some of the stuff we had yesterday on our list. Starting with Neo. Neo was on my list of things to watch yesterday, which has been on my watches for quite a few times this last couple of weeks, as you guys know, probably months now. Um, Here was Neil. What a beautiful breakdown here, guys. What a nice continuation. Many of the Chinese tickers were active yesterday. You saw this sell-off coming into the market open. So Neil was no different. And nice, beautiful sell-off, nice continuation. Meta, on the other hand, had a little rough time to get going here. It did open up like it was going to be strong, but then you had this huge fake out candle, and look how much this thing drops. I mean, the range on this thing, we're talking about 93 to 96, so $3 range just on that first initial opening candles there. And then finally, it does recover and it does go towards the high of the day. But this area here to survive, this would have been a little bit tough. If you're patient enough, you could see some opportunities build up here, some support happening there, another breakout of the high of the day. Then eventually got too toppy and it just gave into the downside here. So that was a meta for you yesterday. AMD daily on Meta, by the way, looks amazing. We're probably going to watch that again today. Here's AMD, beautiful drop at the market open. Also, great 5 minute opening range breakdown. Does test the VWAP a couple of times, gets right above it. So again, just a lot of sideways action. The range was good. It's a very decent size range, but very difficult to trade when you're stuck in this sideways action here. In the afternoons part of the day, guys, look how beautiful this thing trades, right? You do get a beautiful breakout here above the VWAP, and you get what you're looking for, the continuation, right? You actually got the continuation all the way up to 63, about 40 or so. Here was Apple, which, by the way, tons of volume this morning as well. Very similar to AMD's first initial first half of the day, right? Just a lot of sideways action, no real direction into later parts of the afternoon where they finally started breaking out towards new high. Tesla was great yesterday, guys. If you're watching Tesla, I mean, this thing traded very, very clean. Beautiful drop here. Got pretty extended here. Not a great 5 minute open range breakdown, but look how beautiful this thing trades after that, right? Does come and test the VWAP. This is an amazing play here. You can get it in here for the loss for the VWAP, for the loss of VWAP. And you can see how nice this continues towards the low. It breaks down and finally settles at 197. So again, Tesla looking very, very active yesterday. Amazon as well. Amazon did drop also. They did recover towards the later parts of the day at 89. They found some support there. But again, a tough deal for Amazon. I think they're how many days in? Yeah, they ended up red again yesterday. and today they're just slightly over previous day close. So that was action yesterday. This morning on our gappers list, we do have quite a bit on here on the red. So we'll take a look at a couple of names. The Chinese stocks now shifting towards the downside of things. Yesterday we're on the upside of things. It's just man, it's like a big boat. Speaking of boats, I see Pirates of the Caribbean over here. Norm.
Yeah.
Who's a Zen? So this is what our chat room is sharing right now, putting some
Oh, wow.
some pirate stuff over on
That hat is awfully small. Zen.
Oh man,
Crazy.
but yeah, that's what we have, guys. Let's get to the market post. Norm, a lot going on today. Latest and greatest.
Well, I mean, you already mentioned it. We had the small business index come out at 6 a.m. I don't think that's really done much of anything. We have election day, obviously, so that might see if that gives a catalyst after today to maybe turn the markets around. There is some precedent for that kind of thing happening after midterm elections. So we'll see. You know, the markets tend to like when things can't get done. And if we get Republicans taking over Congress, then that could be the case, and we'll have gridlock, and that would bring certainty to policy and other things. So markets could like that. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, and that's yeah. I am, and NVIDIA is running. I am in it. We'll get to that and the catalyst for it in a minute.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. Yeah, looking at NVIDIA right now, taking off. So beautiful daily as well. So Norm, you in this already?
Yeah.
So excellent. Let's go ahead and get rid of our watches.
Looked
from
like
yesterday.
it was going to try to break out. So I took a little bit. It's not very big position, but
yeah, very active pre-market activity on it this morning, 671,000, and we are up on this thing. What is this? Let's put NVIDIA. We're up 3% this morning, with many other stocks that are up here on our gap up list. So let's take a look at what's happening there. Let's take a look at our gap up list, starting with HUDI. Sorry, guys. What is this? What is going on here? So Hudi, or Hawidi, whatever you want to say here. This thing from 30 to 128 two trading days ago. Friday, 50 to 200. And then yesterday just kind of sold off. I want nothing to do with this, guys. This is just
Chinese steel company. I think they announced a secondary. That's what killed it after the big run. But we've seen some of these wild ones recently.
This is just wow. So no. This is very, very risky, guys. Be very careful with this. I mean, it's just no. I mean,
it's just no.
It's just I don't even know what to say. It's just right. Let's go down to the next one. XPWR this morning. We've seen this actually before. I can't recall if it was great or not. SPWR. I know we had on our list ticker SunPower. Probably some kind of energy play or something. Today, they're up.
Earnings this morning.
Oh, okay, 10% up this morning so far. I can't recall how good, if this was good or bad. So I'll put it as a possible.
Trade well at sometimes.
Okay, all right. I can't recall. So we'll put it as a possible for now. I like the gap up. Earnings is always a great catalyst to be on the lookout for. So we'll keep it on deck there. Next, we have VTNR. Not a great daily. Not very light on volume. I'm not sure there's any news on this thing. And also another energy company looks like, I'll skip on this one, guys. I don't like what I'm seeing a whole lot here.
Oil company, they refining, I believe. They had earnings this morning too, but I'm not a huge fan of it.
All right, I'm just linking my trade ideas here, guys, as we go through this. Yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing there. So let's move on to Kohl's earnings today. Got a nice pop up this morning.
No, they pre-announced, I believe. But one thing that they did announce is that they're. I heard something come across. It had to be a pre-announcement. I have the earnings date as the 17th, so I don't think they've announced. But their CEO is leaving, and they've been in a lot of trouble. So that's positivity for the stock.
Okay,
maybe they can turn it around.
All right, let's see, guys. So here's Kohl's up 12% this morning, and I like Kohl's today. It could be interesting depending on how this this turns out at the market open. GFS, no, looks horrible. No volume really, just gapping up 6.1, but not a whole lot of activity. So let's move down to Nvidia. Nvidia, yes, on deck already, guys. 700,000 shares traded, up 3%. Norm, any news on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So they have come out apparently with a chip that can get around the U.S. sanctions to China. So
there you go. There you go. Find a way to figure out how to get around things. So good for them. VREU here, guys, up 3%, 219,000. This was wild yesterday. And actually, it traded decent at the market open. Did give you some opportunities here. Again, you just have to really manage your risk and your size. Brian, Andrew, I think both traded this, and some of you guys in the community. So I think today's second days are always tough. You don't have the volume you did yesterday. So unless you get real good volume, I won't have this on the list today. NCLH this morning, these guys are up 3%. They look better than normal activity they usually get. So earnings, okay, so 700,000 right now. This could be nice. Maybe a possible opportunity for this one. NCLH. So up 3%, 700,000. I do like the daily if we can get going here. How about CCL? Are they doing any sympathy moves here? Not really. So, all right, NCLH, we'll see what happens there. All right, let's see what's gapping down today. So if I head over to this list, we have RCM. This is down 40%, from $15 down to $9 this morning. And volume very light, guys, for what this move is here. I mean, we are down literally almost $6 on this thing, and only with 312,000 shares traded.
Not liking the volume, not liking the price. They had earnings this morning. That's the catalyst.
Volume is way too light for that big of a move, so we'll skip on that for now. Here is Trip, which also doesn't trade very well. They're down 20% as well, 22%. $6 drop here on Trip
last night.
Yeah, another one that could be tough to trade. And again, just be careful. This one does trade a little bit better than RCM, because we've seen some activity that could be okay on that one. But this could be all right. Just got to be very careful, guys, with this one. Be very mindful of your share size. We'll put it as a possible for now. All right, we got Lyft down 18%. I missed this.
Yep.
What's the deal with these guys?
They had earnings last night.
Oh, okay, yeah. So down huge here, guys. 1.8 million shares traded. I prefer to trade Uber. I think it trades better, but Lyft is definitely in play today. Let's see how it trades. Let's give it an opportunity here. Down 18%. Great volume this morning. Let's see what the market open brings for us here. Next on the list, we have TTWO, which we've seen plenty of times on our list. This stock here, by the way, it's one that you've really have to know what you're doing, have to have some experience. It can be extremely volatile and very, very risky. We've seen it active plenty of times. So just be very careful with this one, guys. What's the float on this, right? It's not a low flow stock, actually, 153. No. But man, you got to be careful.
It can move.
Yeah, it can move quite aggressive. What's the news today, Norm, on this?
Earnings last night.
Okay.
Their guidance was pretty concerning. I might this one I might watch to see if it overreacted to the downside.
Yeah. We tend to see that.
Their guidance wasn't great, but I don't know that it warranted this. So we'll see.
Gotcha. Good point. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my secondary list. It's a nice drop here. You are starting to get some volume, but again, just be careful with the number of shares you take on this thing, and look out for the spread at the market open. Make sure it's still decent. AVTR here, which is looks like a block trade, so not really much happening here. Yeah. Skip on over to DWAG. DWAG has been very active. Oh, look at DWAG yesterday. Didn't have this on my list. What a move.
This is all in anticipation of Trump announcing he's going to run.
Yes. We did start to hear that even sometime last week. It started to make a little bit of noise. But yeah, here, guys, so you're seeing the move happening. 8.2 this morning. And I think Peter mentioned this yesterday too. Just be careful with what kind of news is released, because that could affect the way this is moving, right? So close eye on Ben Singh and everything else. Whatever news is released throughout the day can affect the way this thing plays out. So definitely in play. We'll put it on here this morning. 1.3 million, down 8.2. So let's see what it does today. Second days are tough, but let's see what it does after such a big move yesterday. All right, we'll stop here. I know I see a couple of Bitcoin plays here. Actually, we got Riot, we have Coin, Mara. They are all seem to be down 5%. Not a huge drop, so I don't think they're really heavily in play. I like these guys when they have great volume. I'm not seeing great volume on neither one. They're like at 280,000, so that's not great for us. Neo has been just incredible. I'm gonna add Neo to my list because I've been trading it quite a bit. 1.2 million shares traded right now, so the volume is there. We got to wait for the market open to see how this thing is going to play out. And NVAX making our list, not really in play. All right, we'll stop there. Norm, anything you like this morning?
I don't know that there's anything I like especially better in our list. iRobot, IRBT reported this morning they could move. They could get something going. They don't have squat for volume right now, so I don't even think it'll be on my secondary, but maybe do something later. And Apple's been moving around a lot. I want to see if they can find a bottom in here in this area.
Yeah. Speaking of Apple, Amazon. I'm so curious on Amazon's daily here. I'm gonna put it as a secondary because I want to watch what's happening there with these guys. They don't have great volume like they did yesterday, but still 568,000. I suspect they're gonna get the volume at the market open like they always do. They have been, as you can see here in the last couple of days, that the increase in volume compared to what they're normally doing, especially after this gap down. This gap down has really changed the way this thing has been trading lately, and some really good opportunities. Really, I think eventually we're going to find a bottom here. I'm still shocked this thing is dropping like this. But again, I really like this one. Maybe not today, but for the next couple of days to really keep an eye on it.
And I'll mention too that I really haven't traded a lot over the last week, considering traveling to Florida. When I got back, I did trade and had a decent day on Thursday, and then I was gone. So I'll probably take it slow today, treat it like I've been out on vacation, and get my bearings again.
Exactly. Get back into the swing of things. All right, let's take it over to the room. Michael, starting with you. You are giving me AMD. AMD is very similar to NVIDIA right now. Good volume. I like AMD this morning, so that's nice there. I love the daily as well. If we can break out of this area, we've been struggling. We're above it now, but can we stay above that? So AMD is good. I like what I'm seeing there. Tesla was great yesterday, guys. And already this morning, 2 million shares traded. So we got tons of volume on it. Daily also has been dropping on this. We are making a new 52-week low. Yes, we are. So new 52-week low here. We just broke that not a few weeks ago. We're breaking lower even now, down to 195. So again, Tesla not having a whole lot of fun. Any specific news on Tesla? I know Chinese lockdown was an issue for them.
Yeah, that's been an issue off and on.
Right.
But I think they've got a recall problem.
Ooh, not fun. So yeah, they're very active this morning. Let's see what's happening there. Okay, guys. So that's good. Apple, AMD, Disney. When it's reporting, I'm not sure.
Tonight.
I don't know. It's tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have this tomorrow. Usually leading up to the
or
earnings.
after hours could be good too. But
exactly.
Trading in anticipation of that. Every once in a while, something will start to take off. But it's one of those things you got to watch scanners because there's people that know things that might take action before them.
Yeah, something gets leaked.
But it's just like.
It's not more of a gamble, but it's like it's sometimes just not worth it. You'd rather save your ammo, wait for the release, and then take advantage of the actual move that's going to take place. Here's Oxy. I know yesterday it moved very well and it continues to push higher here. We're getting to some levels that we were back in August, right up here. So it's getting interesting. It really is. Can't go by the pre-market, as you guys know. Got have to wait for the market open. I'd rather take off some stuff. Like I'm probably going to take off SPWR, could be decent. TTWO, IRBT, we gotta wait for volume and scanners on this one.
Just delete that. That's garbage.
And let's see. Let's put this one here. What's it? Oxy. Yeah, we'll put Oxy here on the list. I like their daily this morning. All right, we got a lot, guys. HUDI Ross, no. Not looking at that. I mean, when I pulled it up, I just laughed. I mean, what are we doing here? This is insane. Straight gambling, guys. So again,
I'd rather be back stuck in front of an oil tanker.
Yeah, exactly. You have a better chance of having a successful day in that situation, Norm, than trading this crap.
Yes.
All right, so AMD, sympathy with Nvidia and Tesla, pretty high volume. Maybe with Nvidia, right? I would think sympathy move.
What's
I
that?
mean, a sympathy move, AMD sympathy move with an Nvidia and Tesla. Why Tesla called tonight? I'm not sure why Tesla would be involved, or why Nvidia would be involved, because
Hmm?
AMD.
NVIDIA involved in what?
No, I'm saying he's saying that AMD is moving on a sympathy move with Nvidia, which I'm not sure if they're involved in the same issue with the China chip, right? I don't
Yeah,
think
they've got
so.
some China problems to a degree. Not, I don't think it's as much as I don't think it's as much as
Oh, gotcha.
Nvidia, but I think these companies are down so much. This sector's bound to have a bounce at some point in here
Yeah, yeah.
too. So this helps.
All right, Carlton. Yeah, I got you now, man. All right, yep. So we'll see. I know they're gonna be in play for sure. The volume is really nice today on all three of these guys, right? AMD, Tesla, and Nvidia. So definitely on our top list this morning. All right, guys. I think we have a great list. Anything on YouTube that we have not looked at yet? And if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. PLNT, is that Planet Fitness? They're public. I did not know that. PLNT. I don't think I ever looked at this ticker. No, it looks like it trades
Their
horrible.
average volume's less than I think it's less than 1 million shares a day.
Yeah, no. So volume is no good there. FNKO sounds familiar. I don't think it's a great one.
Funko. Yeah,
No, yeah, this is brutal. So careful on this thing. I don't think you're gonna get any movement. I think it's after this drop. This was the move here. You're just gonna go back to trading how you normally do, which is sideways, right? So I don't think a whole lot's gonna be happening there. All right, guys, we got a pretty good list, and we got to fine tune it even further. Let's head over to our website, bearbulltraders.com, and go over what's happening for the next 2 weeks.
Yep. Anytime you're interested, bearbulltraders.com/webinars, or click the webinars link in the nav bar at the top. All right. Every Monday night, onboarding and technology with Carlos, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Tuesday, we focus on strategy. Tonight, you're going to have Thor talking about VPA and the how at 8 p.m. Next week, is creating and maintaining a trading journal with Peter. Wednesday, we've got Creta. That is tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern, how to identify negative thinking. And we've got a new change here on the 16th. It will not be Mike. It's going to be a new guest that we're going to try to get into the rotation about once a month. Somebody that Andrew met at Traders for a Cause. Kim Ann Curtin is her name. She's going to be talking about the invisible threat to your trading account. And underlying human tendencies that affect your trading. So that will be on the 16th. We'll get that updated and verify the time. I believe she's in the US, so she's in Hawaii, maybe even. So we'll see what time that is, but I'm guessing that would be 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Mike. All right, then on Thursday we've got mentorship. That's 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. Don't forget about tradingterminal.com, your one-stop shop for trading information, everything from earnings calendar to news, the Benzinga squawk, and our trading simulator, where you can go to either link through that page to it or go to stocktradingsimulator.com and use our free web-based replay simulator to hone your trading skills 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the chat, you can use the promo code PreMarket24 for the intro membership. That's a no obligation trial, 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. And it only bills you once. It's not a recurring payment. If you'd like to become an elite member, use the promo code READ50 to get half off the annual elite and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right, thank you very much, Norm. Someone mentioned SEDG. Yeah, so this is moving for what it normally does, but the volume.
Spread.
Yeah, the volume is very light, and the spread is $2. So at that 241, that $2 spread is not going to be any good for you. So very, very careful. And it doesn't get better, right? It doesn't get better. If you look at the daily here, they don't get above 2 million shares. So even on big moves, it's the likelihood of this being good to trade is not going to be.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with those thinly traded tickers. You can
Yeah.
get stuck in a bad trade real fast.
You could get stuck in like a simple drop, and just the spread will put you at
Yeah.
2 times your loss, just like
your
that.
slippage will be huge.
It's just not worth it. Just not worth it. Someone mentioned Baba, too light volume today. They're down 2%, but the volume is very light. Maybe at the market open, if we get some volume, it could be good. But yeah, not looking great as it did yesterday. That's for sure. All right, excellent, guys. Let's get to some levels. We have NVIDIA fine-tuned a little bit more, looking really nice. Getting to that 149.55. That is the daily level we have over here. So pushing up towards that. Let's see what it does. Very, very strong this morning, up 3.5. We have COS as well, which again popped up here and now is dropping from the pre-market highs of 38. So we'll slam a level there as well. And then we have LIV, which again, big drop this morning. Let's see at the market open. I prefer to trade Uber when it has earnings or a possible opportunity or catalyst. LIV is not usually my go-to, but today they got great volume. So let's see if that can turn into anything. NEO, of course, looking crappy right now, but we've seen it trade very well at the market open. Apple also moving nicely, pre-market 2.4. This is looking great there. AMD's looking good. Tesla's looking great, actually. Probably one of the better pre-market activities this morning so far, as their low of the pre-market is setting up at 193.60. So got some pretty cool stuff here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got one too many, but you know what? It's early. We'll do levels for everything. I might push COS down. Either COS or NEO will be the one that I push down today. Not NEO, LIV. So one of these two to make it 6. So let's see. Let's do levels for everything, and then we'll come back and see how we can fine tune this a little bit further. All right, let's start with NVIDIA here. Our high of our pre-market is going to be 148.35. Again, NVIDIA with some good news. Found a way to get around the chip issue they had with US and China. So now they're able to get around that and get those sales back or continue production, whatever the situation was. 145.43, another level here that's below the price action, right? So you got your two prices there surrounding the price activity now. And then if we were to get above 148.49, 148.35, we do have a level at 149.35. So that's already marked there. That's going to be this one here. And just in case if we continue to push down, we have 155.15. I don't remember when that news broke out, but I know we did have a big drop when that did happen, right? It was not a good thing for them. So maybe now they're recovering some of that ground as well. So that's NVIDIA. Towards the bottom, guys, plenty of support, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. It's just a whole lot going on here, as you can see. All right, let's look at COS. So COS, COS could be a hit or miss at times. We have to see how this thing is going to trade. For the most part, a news like today, you have good volume, but the market open, so it really is going to tell you what is going to end up happening here. So at the moment, very active. Let's do some levels. We have 30.38, which is the high of the pre-market. Above this, we do have 30.86. And we have this over here at 31.14 as well. Now, towards the bottom, where the price action is right now, you actually have a level right on there. See this dot, this solid red line? That is your price action at the moment. If you draw a line there, it's 28.80. You could see the levels of resistance, resistance, a little bit more resistance over here. Also across the board, a lot of days opening and closing right around that 28.85. So worth marking that down there. So we'll slam a level there as well and see how that's going to play out. You got a little bit of support here, not a whole lot, but even a little bit of support in some areas as well. So that's COS. And then towards the bottom, you start slamming into your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. I think you're pretty set when it comes to that. Let's look at LIV. Again, LIV is, for me, it's a hit or miss. I think it's very choppy ticker to intraday trade. Low of the pre-market 11.25. Your high is at 12.15. So you got those 2 levels there also being confirmed by prior daily candles as well. The price action right now is it's in an interesting spot. You do have a couple of days here opening and closing right around that area, around 11.60. Not sure if it's worth marking down. I'll leave it off for now, but that's there. Below the low of the pre-market, you do have this drop here at 10.84 as well. And then towards the top, if we were to push higher, clear level here, guys, around a 12, maybe 12.85 or so. Then above that, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So a big drop, some 18.5 at the moment, and we don't have anything below here because last time we were actually above where we're at now. Last time we were at this range. It's been a while. Let's go to monthly. Oh, is this all-time low? All-time low, my friends, I think, right? Am I seeing that right? Because if I go to a daily here, oh no, this is all-time low, right? And then there's nothing else below this 1084. Man, look at that. Lift, guys, it's just insane. 13, 1084. All right, so that's what you have there. Let's look at Neo, guys. So Neo, again, just here's what we've been liking about Neo quite a lot. You guys know because I've been trading it and showing you guys those trades. It's just a continuation, right? So the pre-market doesn't give you a whole lot. At the market open, you wait 5-15 minutes and you get this beautiful continuation. That has happened more often than not. This was yesterday. This was Friday, right? Just wait a little bit and you get the continuation, not as clean there. But what's been happening with Neo is that you're getting a flat gap up pre-market type activity, right? Pretty much flat. And then at the market open, and it's been happening with Baba too, to an extent. At the market open, this is Thursday, you're getting this move, right? So you have to just wait a little bit, wait for it to set up, and then see where the continuation is moving. And normally what you do is that first 2 hours, you get the one move, and then it goes flat for the most part. So if you get a decent move, make sure you're taking profit. Don't let this thing come back to you. So that's what I've been liking on Neo. And if you go back and you look at a different day, this will be the third now, same thing, right? Get going here, sets it up, beautiful continuation, and then goes flat for the rest of the day. So it's very interesting how it has been trading. It's been doing that with great volume. So just wait those 15 even 10 minutes and let the thing settle out, see what the direction is going to be. So I like Neo today. Highs and lows for the last 2 trading, doing a pretty good job towards the top here. Previous day close as well. We're sitting at a nice area of support over at 1055-ish, looks like. Then below that, if you were to break down, we're looking at 1020 and over here 944. So some pretty good levels on Neo right now. I don't think we need to add anything else. Good volume as well, down 2.1. Lyft is earnings, right? Lyft is dropping based on earnings. So if we go to Lyft here, earnings last night. So they got crushed there. And Uber had their earnings, I think, about 2 weeks ago. So they already reported also. So Uber's not going to be moving a whole lot on this. I wouldn't think so. They're pretty much flat because they had their deal some time ago. All right, let's take a look at Apple here, guys. Apple ripping nicely, continues to push up 1% now, and started in the red this morning. So it's moving very well. High of the pre-market at the moment, 140.40. So we'll slam a level right on there. And above that, we do have a level coming up at 142.50. Tons of stuff towards the bottom here, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So don't need to add anything there. And then if we were to break out of 142, which again, you need a lot, major things need to happen for you to make this type of move. 144, 145, another great level there. A lot of areas of support and resistance hitting that price tag. So that's where you're at with Apple. Great volume, guys. 2.5 right now, up 1%. So definitely looking very good this morning. Here is AMD. AMD also has great activity, guys. Up 2.1, 1.3 million shares traded. High of the pre-market, we're looking at the moment at 64.55. So I'm going to slam something there. And then if we look at above that 64.55, we have a couple of days here. 67, a great level of support and resistance there. And then slightly above that, you got a tight range there at 68.98 as well. So let's see, day looking very good as well as we're breaking out from this previous day close line, this 63.50. No, not there, 63.08, right? 63.08. We're breaking out above that. That has been a problem for NVIDIA for quite some time. So we're above that today. Can we stay above it? It's going to be the question here. So looking pretty good so far. Volume is great. The move is not as clean as NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA looks really clean with less volume, but looks cleaner. And also you got Apple moving very nicely this morning. All three of these guys looking very explosive today. That's AMD. Tesla towards the downside, also looking very good. If you look at the upside above the price section, I don't think you need to add anything, guys. Everything is done here for you. Previous day close, highs and lows are doing an amazing job there. So don't need to do anything there. If you look towards the bottom low of the pre-market, 193.60. And when's the last time we were hanging out at this area in this neighborhood? What are we looking at here? We're going back. We're going all the way back. So 52-week low being done right now. We're going back to 2020, May, June timeframe. So right over here, we have a 182. And then we have all the way over here, we have 186.47. So a couple of days there, couple of days. But again, this is where we're getting to some new territory, at least for the 52 weeks here on a Tesla. Looking very good, guys. Very active. Beautiful pre-market activity at the moment. So that is looking very nice. If Trump announces he's running, we'll see DWAC at $100. It won't shock me. Won't shock me. Yeah, this would take off. This would literally take off. So you got to be on the lookout for that type of news. If he announces that, this will be in play, but it'll be wild, guys. So be very, very careful on this one, right? Already, just with rumors, right? Look how much it's moving already. So very careful. 1.5 million shares traded right now. Hard to borrow on shorts on this one. So again, just be very careful. All right, that's my list, guys. 908. What do we have going on in our chat? I see Mike, I see Thor, I see Susan with their list ready to rock and roll here. How about you guys? Anything that you have that we have not looked at over on YouTube or in our chat? Robert, yeah, it is a risky stock. It's not an easy stock to trade, so you got to be very careful. What do we have here? All right, excellent. mRNA, steady grind. mRNA on the daily. Yeah, look at the daily for sure. Nothing to see this morning as far as that, but the daily has been just crushing it here. 165 from the lows of 120 and lower. So that's pretty good there. Ismael is saying hi from Barcelona. Welcome to the stream, man. Appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We're sitting at 134 likes. We'd love to get above 200, 250. It's like prime time for us. So if you could get to those numbers, we really appreciate it. Alex wants us to look at SQ. Let's take a look. SQ. You know what? I haven't traded SQ since it was probably called Square. It just became black. It hasn't been fun for me personally. This thing used to be great to trade, man. This one alongside with JD and PayPal, they all used to be just right on there. But I haven't had any not success. I haven't tried to trade it, but I haven't had any inclination to trade this ticker. So I'm really not a fan of SQ no more. And looking at it now, not with a bias, it doesn't look like it's really in play. You might need to wait for the market open on this thing. How about you, Norm? What are your thoughts on SQ? I know we used to love this one.
I'd wait for them. Yeah, it just hasn't been trading the same. I mean, and that happens. Things fall out of favor at times. Maybe it does something. I don't know.
Yeah. Lyft is popping. Let's see. Yeah, Lyft could be a good one for like an overreaction type thing, right? Because some of this, when Uber dropped, when Uber did their earnings, these guys also moved, right? Sympathy. So maybe a lot of that's baked in. So this could be an overreaction. Be on the lookout for that there as well. So that's
the other way actually, because Uber had earnings that were decent and it bounced on it, and then their really main competitor is having problems. That tells me that Uber's outperforming them.
So Uber's
why would anybody want to be in Lyft? Yeah, that's just that's
point.
my thought process. Yeah. I'm not saying it's right, but
no, it's a good point, man. It's a good point. SAXL. This is an ETF, I believe. Yeah, ETF. You can watch this. I don't put it usually on the list, but this is tradable as well, Jose. So if you want to keep an eye on this, you can. But just be very careful on these. I think this is leverage as well. So yeah, 3 times leverage. So again, just be very, very careful with your share size. All right, excellent, guys. I think we're all set. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup, see what's going on there, and then we will get going here. So let's bring this over. Let me disable the video here, and we'll see what's going on with our moderating team as far as their watch list. So let me resize this here. Perfect. All right, so if I scroll up here today, what do we have? We are looking at Mike. Mike has NVIDIA, Apple, SQ. Thor is looking at Tesla, Coles, Zoom, AMD, Apple, and overall market. Susan will be looking at AMD and Amazon. Secondary list, SPY and Meta. Oh yeah, I want to look at Meta today. see what's going on there. And then, guys, Dubai meeting with Andrew. So click on here on this link if you're in the area. Definitely, I'm going to put this over in our YouTube chat as well. If you don't have to be a member to join, guys. So if you're in the YouTube and you are in Dubai, definitely check out that link. RSVP. What was that?
We just want to go to Dubai.
Yeah, I would love to go there. Maybe our next meetup, live trading workshop could be there after San Diego. San Diego's coming up and a few others. So guys, definitely check out that link, RSVP. All more details on that forum post. Peter coming in with his list: AMD, Apple, Coast, secondary list, NCLH, TTWO, and Tesla.
I'm not going to Dubai.
You're not going? What is it, like a 20-hour flight?
It's a very long flight. I mean, my condition on going to Dubai is one of those Emirates, like ultra first class cabins where it's like your own room,
like the $30,000 ticket.
Yeah, exactly. That you can't. They don't. There's no alcohol there. I don't think.
There's no alcohol in Dubai.
No.
Hey, we're not going there. No,
there is alcohol in Dubai. Okay, there is. There's a lot of alcohol. Okay.
All right, so we might have
tourist hotels. Okay.
We might have.
I know there's restrictions over there in different parts. I don't know which part has it. So they're saying there is alcohol only in the hotels. So.
Okay. Interesting. All right, guys, we are set. Here's Peter's list. No IPOs for today. And I think we are good to go. So
I was fed false information, guys.
It's all good. Well, not completely false. It's just not 100%.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. Just needed some fine tuning. Yeah. All right, guys, we are set. Let's see what we got going on here. We'll wait to see if any of the moderators have their list ready, and we'll be ready to go here, guys.
Because it's Saudi Arabia, there's no booze, right? I don't think there's any booze in Saudi Arabia. I think they throw you in jail if you drink in Saudi Arabia, right?
It would not shock me, man. Andrew's in the YouTube chat, guys. Say hello to Andrew over in YouTube. Guys, make sure to follow us on Twitter as well, at Bearable Traders, right? Tons of great posts there. Andrew's actually stirring up the pot a little bit here with some of his tweets. I'm really enjoying this. What's the one he said? Ban TikTok. So I'm enjoying some of the posts that are happening here.
Banning of TikTok.
Yeah. I love people's reaction on what's going on with some of this stuff. So definitely, this is ban TikTok.
I think at some point TikTok will be banned.
You know what? I think that yes, but if people think that this is the solution for kids not getting, looking at stuff they're not supposed to, that's on the parents. Come on, you got to know what your kids are doing. That's on you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I actually watched that 60 Minutes piece. It was quite interesting.
Yeah. I want to watch it now. After I do post it here, I want to see, because I think a lot of it is on the parents, not all of it. But there'll be other platforms. Like if you see the stuff that's on Twitter, you'd be surprised that that stuff is on there, right? As far as viral videos and fights and all these negative things. So I think TikTok just found a way to attract kids, but parents.
I know grown adults, 40-year-old plus, that are addicted to TikTok and sit on the thing all day. I've never been on TikTok.
There was a study that people think TikTok is like a 16-year-old type thing. It's not. There's a lot more adults on there than kids, so it's not a kid's platform, really.
The TikTok, Meta will go crazy if TikTok gets banned.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All
no
right.
question. Guys, we're all set. Let me see. Where's my members chat? Did we get any more moderators on here? Nope, we're good. Guys, trade safe today. Remember, tonight is strategy with Thor at 8 p.m. So don't miss that over on the webinar. Take care, guys. Trade safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Andrew's having a blast over on YouTube.
Oh, I troll Elon too. Care, yeah, the trolls for Elon. Gotta follow Andrew on Twitter. They're hilarious. Take care, guys.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.